Hello everybody, how is it going? My name is Lucas and today we are checking out a sick reverb plugin from Hit Factory Plugins called HitVerb. Alright, without any further ado, let's jump right in and check it out. So we're going to be checking out HitVerb today. I have it on a variety of different tracks. The tracks we're going to be using today is going to be provided from my friend Mr. Kyle Carriage. He was nice enough to let me use one of his songs for this demo. The name of the song is going to be Purified. I will put links in the description to his album if you want to check it out. All right, so I have HitVerb on various different tracks on here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to press play and we're going to just listen to the whole song, and I may solo parts of the song so you can kind of hear it, and we'll check out the plugin and we'll just listen to the whole thing and then we will get in depth. Nice little banging song from Kyle there. Once again, thank you, Kyle, for letting me use that. So let's check out HitVerb itself. So yes, it is a reverb plugin, but it's a very interesting reverb plugin because it has so many different rooms from so many different awesome studios all over the world. So you have Studio 1, you have Studio 6, 3, 4, 5, 7, you have G1, G2, A1, A3, L1, Studio C, and Studio A6. So I know the names can be kind of like daunting, but what's really cool about it, and the names, the names are like kind of like standard, but in the plugin itself, you have the text about it. It tells you what songs are recorded here. It tells you where it's at. It tells you what clients are using the room. You get the dimensions of the room, and you can actually like get a picture of the room too, which is really cool. And you can also control like everything in here, right? So like, look, you can pull this. You can pull. Well, this is the X and Y axis right here. You can do the height. I think, can you do the height in here? I can't. You can only do the X and Y axis within the visual of itself, but you can do the width right here. You can pick the mic. So you have total control, and you get a visual of it too, which some plugins don't give you a visual of things, which I have to say the GUI, the GUI, the interface on here is really nice. And I love this part. I love the dimensions of the room, and I love the text of it because it's like giving you like not content, it's giving you, what's the word I'm looking for? Context, there we go, of what was done here, and like if it's wood, what type of wood and stuff like that. Because I know a lot of people are going to be interested in that because they're gonna want to say, okay, I want, specifically a wood room, and boom, you got it right here. And the controls of the plugin themselves, it's very straightforward. Like you have the shape, you have the low cut, you have the high cut, you have the tail. You have the different, and we kind of look over here, X, Y, height, width. You have the different mics you can pick from. You have early reflections. You have your tail. You can link them. You can unlink them if you want. You have your mix knob right here. And you have carpet. So you can put the carpet in. You can put the carpet out. You have detailed controls, but it's also very simple. Now, what I did for this mix, it's not typically how I do a mix, right? So what Kyle did was I had him send me his song, but it had no mastering chain on it, and he took out all of the reverb on it because I wanted to show off the plugin by itself. So I kind of had to do things a little differently than what I'm used to. So I mastered the track, and I also threw reverb on it, and it was different from what I'm used to, but it was interesting, and it was a challenge. For my mastering chain, as I just have Pro L2 as my limiter, I have some Universal Audio Stutter 800 tape right here. And I think I just put like the bright preset on it. It's kind of like what I did. I just kind of like just went for it, right? And then I have the guide particle. I'm not using the limiter on here. The important parts of here you need to look at is the particle itself. I have it at 130, and I have the highs and the lows right here. I'm just kind of giving you an insight of everything that I did. And I put HitVerb on a bunch of tracks. I put them pretty much on every drum track, but I didn't necessarily put them on things that didn't need it. So like the rhythm guitars doesn't have it. The leads and the wet delay doesn't have it. And I'm an insane man, and I put it on the bass. So let's actually start on the drums itself. So this is what the drums are going to sound like with HitVerb, and then I'll take them all off, and then I'll put them all back on. And guys, I know demos like this can be a little bit boring because you're kind of hearing the same stuff over and over again. So I'm going to try to make this as interesting as I can. For the drums we have right here, let's start on the kick. I did not put any on the kick. I've never put reverb on my kick, so I don't have any on there. For the overheads, let's start with the overheads because I did something that I never normally do. For the overheads themselves, I just kind of want to solo it for it right now. I used HitVerb as kind of a way to push the cymbals down, because to me cymbals are one of the biggest enemies whenever you're mixing, because they tend to eat up like everything, especially if you have vocals. That's the only thing we really won't be able to try HitVerb on today is vocals, which is kind of a shame, but I just kind of wanted to show you some good quality stuff while I had it. So what I used John's Fantasy X Room for this. So I had Lennon was here, Talking Heads. One was the first one that helped launch the Hit Factory into a major recording facility. The L-shaped room. See, so you got the details about it. And what I did for this was I took the overheads and I tried to push them as far back as I could, but I used the reverb, and I've never really done that before. So let me show you what I'm talking about. It's very helpful for whenever the crash comes in, because the crash cymbal will just eat up like all kind of spectrum, right? So that's kind of like what I did. I find it has such a good sound on the ride cymbal right there. Like it makes it like big and open, and I'm trying to not use a bunch of stupid buzzwords, right? And that's basically what I did with the overheads. I kind of wanted to get them, push them back a little bit. Now for the toms, most of the selections that I did, I kind of like picked a preset, kind of like that was kind of like in the vein of what I wanted, and I kind of just tweaked it. Like I said, I just went for it, right? I didn't really like super dial in and get like super detailed, right? I just kind of like went for it. If it sounded good, it stayed good. So let's hear the toms a little bit here. I'll kind of show you what I did. And as you can hear. I just wanted it to get really big and really open to kind of be not so dry. This isn't a super large amount of difference, I guess you could say, but it's the perfect amount, if that makes any sense. And I'm trying to show off all the different aspects of the plugin. The mic placement, I did mess with that a little bit, but like I said, if I picked a preset and it was good, I just like went with it, got it to where I sounded like really good, and I just went with it. And as you can kind of hear when you're using the mixer, like at one point it kind of like sounds the best, like kind of where I have it right now, it sounds good. And then if you push more of it mix in, it can, you know, it sounds, I'll say worse, but it's like so much and not enough. So you kind of just mess with it enough to where it sounds good and just go with it. That is my overall take with this. Is it's very easy to use. You get something that sounds good and just go with it. But you also have controls to narrow it in and tweak it to however you want it if you do want to do that. I know that toms are not the most exciting things in the world, but let's get to everyone's favorite drum. Oh boy, the snare. What did I use for this? I used the Police Snare plugin for this. You do have a bunch of presets too. Let me show you right here. I'm gonna just go around and show you a bunch of the different ones. So you have Night Theater Snare, it's actually from Dream Theater, which I was very shocked that this was in here, to be honest, but it was a surprise, but a welcome one for sure. And you have so many of the different presets. They're very good. So you have like snare, you have vocal. Whenever I first like come to a plugin that haven't really used before, I find sometimes if you use if you use the presets, that can kind of get you sort of where you want to go, and then you can kind of like tweak it a little bit and make it your own. But don't be scared to use like a vocal plugin on the snare or anything like that, because it can also sound really good too. So let me just show you the snare by itself really quick, and we can go from there. Keep in mind too, this is both bottom and top snare in one track. I think the only thing I really messed with was just kind of like the mix knob, because I just kind of like the way it sounded like that, and I went with it right there. And let me let you hear in the full context once again. We'll do all the drums, and I will take it on and off. I think it sounds really great. It just gives it that good fatness. Like, I like my snare kind of be like the loudest thing and make it, you know, like really fat. Room mics always usually help with that too. So I kind of wanted to show off some other of the presets in here while we're on the snare. So I just let it play, and then I'll go to the different presets. Side note, Dancing in the USA was born in the USA. I guess, yeah, that's from the Springsteen one. Yeah, that's what that's from. Once again, I love that you can just come in here and just like read about the different songs and stuff that were recorded there. Let's do a few more presets. As you can see, we have a bunch of different snare presets going on in here, and they all sound really good. I really liked the snare room. That one sounded really good. Like, it was nice and tight, but it was also had some air in it, which sounded pretty sick. And like, have MC Christmas snare. What is this one right here? What room is this one? This one's one in New York. So like I said, like as you see me going through here, like you see how the controls are like very easy. They're very easy. They're right to the point. I like the visual aspect of it because I've used some really good reverb plugins before, but they didn't really have this type of visual aspect to them. I guess they kind of did that to kind of keep the cost down. Little disclaimer, I know we're like about halfway through the video. I was given the plugin for free to demo it and shoot a video for it, but I was not paid to do the demo. So all of my opinions that you're getting, they're mine and mine alone. Nothing affected my opinion for the video, by the way. So I'm not like being a show or anything. Just wanted to throw that out there. Why I thought about it. I wanted to say it in the beginning of the video, but I kind of forgot. Now let's go to the rooms. Because to me, the rooms are one of the biggest things on drums that can affect the sound. So let's just hear the rooms by themselves. As you can see, I just went with your hometown room from the presets right here. I was like, oh, room preset, so let me pick this, and I really liked the way it sounded. I know I'm kind of starting to sound like a broken record saying that, but it's literally true. I kind of just what people call regard maxed it, so like I literally just like picked something that sounded good and went with it. There we go. I'm gonna play all the drums again, and I'm gonna mess with the room verb. And then the full mix, I know like the little bitty details can be really hard to hear, but the individual little details of each individual thing you do, they kind of like stack up a whole lot better. And as you heard, did you hear what I was doing in the rooms? Like as I was affecting it, it was like kind of affecting like how the snare sounded, because that's kind of like what I do when I mix. Like I try and do things in the room to kind of like boost the snare, to get the snare sounding really killer. And I think that is going to wrap it up for the drums. I'm sorry that it took so long. That's just kind of like where most of my energy went for the drums. I did put some on the bass, coincidentally enough. Let's just listen to the bass. I'm kind of insane, and very long time ago, I started putting a tiny bit of reverb on my bass just for fun because no one else really does it. And I don't really know if it affects the overall mix that much. It doesn't really sound like it does to me, but I kind of like a little bit of like breath it gives the bass, if that makes any sense. I mean, you could take it or leave it. I literally just picked like anything. I'm just like, oh, let me just, I think this is actually the default one. I think this is what I picked, and I just kind of put it on there just for fun. That's the bass. I mean, you could take it or leave it. I know a lot of people are not going to put reverb on their bass. Now, the final two things I used HitVerb for was on the little intro track over here that he had, like Kyle has a little stuff. This necessarily wasn't like needed, but I just kind of put it on here for fun. And I just use the John Legend preset as basically what this is. I just kind of wanted to do some fun stuff right there. And this is from, I think this was in New York. Yeah, this was the one in New York, which tons of people have used this room for stuff. So I just kind of picked this and I just kind of messed with it. And as you can hear, like, it's not necessarily needed, but it kind of gives it that little bit of like polish that kind of like sounds, it can get kind of cool if you kind of want it to stand out a little bit. I like it because it makes it sound even bigger than what it originally does just without it on there. The very last thing we are going to check out, and I will get you guys out of here, is the synths. And now the synths kind of really don't need them, to be honest with you, because like back here they get really loud. It's the bang bang burn burn part, but I find it benefits it in the beginning. Once again, not necessarily needed, but I do find it makes them have a little bit more impact, and they sound a little bit fuller whenever you're putting the reverb on them right there. And typically when I do I put reverb on my synths? I maybe put a little bit of delay. I'm trying to remember what I've done before. It's been a while since I've surely messed with some synths, but I do like what HitVerb does to the synths here. I think it sounds really good. So guys, I'm going to get you out of here. We have been here a while, and look, if you have watched to this point, you are amazing, and thank you so much for watching me check out this little reverb plugin. Once again, thanks for my friend Kyle for getting me in touch with the guys at Hit Factory, for getting the plugin to me. Thanks to my friend Kyle Karich for letting me use his song, and big thanks to you for watching this for. Guys, if you have watched this for, you are amazing. Thank you for checking out this reverb plugin with me. My final thoughts on it: it may be my new go-to reverb plugin because it's so fun to use. There's tons of different presets in it. Everything's explained for you. It's easy to use. I typically use delay more than I'll use reverb for things, just because I really didn't have a steadfast reverb plugin to go to. Like, I've used some free ones in the past, especially for like my drum bus, but that had reverb on it. I would use that. I used some other Slate ones in the past, but I recently got rid of the Slate bundle, so I kind of didn't have that one anymore. And I think this one is going to be my new go-to plugin. Why? Because it's easy, it's fun, it doesn't fight me. That's a big thing for me. If a plugin like fights me, if it's confusing, I kind of like don't gravitate toward it. But this is, it looks good, it functions good, it gives you plenty of controls. Now, I know it may not be perfect for everybody. You may watch this, you may think it's like, that is just not for me. I don't like what it does, and that's cool, and that's okay. But for me personally, I do like it. Sorry if I came off as shilly in this video. I tried not to be very shilly. I did have fun with this, to be honest with you. Doing this demo, it was really fun. This is the first big thing I've done on my Mac Mini. I've recently switched over from Windows, and I'm trying to use Mac OS for all of my like music production stuff, and it was really fun. So the whole demo was done on Mac OS. It ran perfectly. The plugin gave me no problems. I'm on an M4 Mini, so this is Apple's hardware. So it was great. It was fun. Sorry for if I overused buzzwords, but look, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. And look, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.